Hello everyone, I am Siraj and welcome to my podcast. This is my first as a host, and today I have with me Rishi, who is a friend of mine from the UK. We've done this before, but we didn't record it last time. It went great, but this time we've had some technical issues and stuff, and the recording is glitched. But you'll get the point, and we didn't record it last time, but we recorded this time for you to see, and we hope you enjoy it. Let's start. We're here. Recording is in progress. Let's start.
Let's begin.
So let's just start off with our introduction. Go ahead.
I'm Rishi, and I haven't done anything significant to be on a podcast. I hope I will one day, but as of this moment, I'm just a teenager who happens to know a little bit of something, and I'm currently talking with Siraj.
That something is what we are interested in.
Right, okay. So that's something, I have quite a wide variety of interests. It's like you dip into a lot of pools, but you never actually swim in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Okay, cool. So I am Sayyid Muhammad Siraj Al-Haq. I'm the founder of Spadit. I'm the incubation manager of Lord's TBI, so and so and so. And I'm also, I guess I can rightfully say that I'm a blogger. So I've been publishing for the last 24 weeks. That if every month was February, it would be 6 months. But I'm 2 weeks to go for my 6 month, completing my 6 months as a blogger. So, and I've been publishing consistently for 24 weeks. That's me. So, for the audience who don't know Rishikesh, Rishi is also a blogger on Substack. He has also posted a few blogs, and one that I referred recently was Chaos Theory and Butterfly Effect. Chaotic Butterflies, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah.
Chaotic Butterflies is one of Rishi's publications. So tell us about it. Just what is Chaos Theory and Butterfly?
I should have prepared more for this. I did not. But basically, from what I remember, Chaos Theory is basically Newton, he could find the gravitational pull and the gravitational effects of one large body orbiting another. Yeah. What he could not do was what if there were two bodies, right? Two large masses, and there was another body orbiting between them. He could not crack that problem, and historically it's been known as the two-body problem or three-body problem. Two-body problem is what I remember. And the reason he could not find this was, the reason he could not solve this problem is because it didn't come under the physics of his domain. His physics was classical mechanics, stuff that had predictable behavior, stuff like if I tossed a coin and I had all the variables that I needed, air resistance, force, and everything, I could calculate whether it would land on heads and tails. That's classical mechanics. The thing is, right, the two-body or three-body problem, the one that Isaac Newton could not solve, that did not rely on this classical mechanics. It was something more advanced. And eventually, over time, it became established as chaos theory, something that's out of the bound of predictable events, stuff that you could predict and stuff that you could mathematically calculate. And the best example of chaos theory is the stock market, because you can't predict it and its behavior is chaotic. And another example that we see daily is the weather. And I have a sort of a hatred towards meteorologists because I don't believe that they can predict the weather. Every time they say that it's going to rain, it's sunny. Every time they say it's going to be sunny, it suddenly rains. And I understand that it's difficult, But yeah, it's I don't really trust meteorologists the same way I don't trust astrologists. Uh, I mean, like, to sum it up nicely, anyone who looks at the sky and tells you stuff based on the sky is a liar. Uh, but yeah, it's a good example of chaos theory, and a lot of modern chaos theory was derived by this one guy whose name I forgot. But basically, he was trying to calculate the weather based on about 8 variables or so, and every time he slightly changed the variables, like very very minute numbers, he pretty much got completely different results. And yeah, that's chaos theory. It's all about randomness, and
Butterfly effect.
our lives are also quite chaotic. Yeah. Okay, butterfly effect. So butterfly effect is the theory that my actions now would affect something else much larger. And quite a few people may have heard that if a butterfly beats its wings somewhere in India, then there'll be a tornado in some other part of the world. And it's because, the vibrations of the air slowly build up or do something. And I don't really remember much from butterfly effect. It's mostly that stuff that you've done affects the lives of everything else. So I think the philosophical point I took from that blog was, as insignificant as you may think you are, you probably have affected the world in quite a drastic way.
Mhm.
And to think about it, butterfly theory might apply here as well. This one podcast may go places and places and places, and people may accuse me of butchering scientific facts, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
One more thing
That's
that
chaos.
we had planned for this podcast is your take on PMF.
TMF.
Remember?
What is
PMF.
TMF?
PMF.
Product market.
We had
Okay,
a tweet
PMF.
conversation.
Product market fit. Yeah, we had a tweet conversation. So this is quite a long story, but
At the time.
I think we have time. So, but
Yeah.
basically, for those of you who don't know what it is, product market fit is essentially you have a market of people willing to buy stuff, and you have a product. And if the market likes your product and they are buying your product in large volumes, then you've got product market fit. You have created something for a market of people, and they're buying it and they're happy. Generally, startup success is measured whether you have product market fit and people actually want to buy your product, and instead of you just saying a bunch of stuff. Create product market fit is I don't know, it's companies like YouTube and Netflix, because we want movies and they provide us movies and they make money. Although Netflix is more of a complicated story. But I didn't really understand what it was. Theoretically it seemed something, and I didn't understand what it could have been. But recently in my school there was this fair, and it was to celebrate my school's 50th anniversary, and there was this fair, and as I was part of the student leadership team, we had to run the stalls in the fair.
Yeah.
And there was this one stall where there was like a football thing. What do you call it? A goal post. There's a goal post and football, and football was basically to pay 50p, which is 50 rupees in currency. It's not much in the UK. And I'd have to pay 50p. You get 3 shots, and every time you score a goal, you get a chocolate.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Okay.
And this worked surprisingly well. Like, it worked really, really well. There was no prior declared investment, but essentially I had to use chocolate packets, and the chocolate packets cost about £10. So I used about 10 packets. Each one cost about £1. So I'm taking a budget of £10. At the end of the day, about 3.5 hours, we got a revenue of £90. So that's 9x return and 8x profit.
900%.
And
Correct.
yeah, I know it's a crazy number, and I didn't believe it when I was counting the money. I thought someone else put their money in, but it was true. We got that much money, and the reason for that is product market fit, and I'll explain why it worked.
Yeah.
First of all, let's talk about the market, because market's important. This is a fair. Why do people go to fairs? If you live in Hyderabad, you probably heard of exhibition,
Yeah.
or Numaish, and it happens. Everyone knows it, and it's
Every
basically
January.
this massive fair and event which lasts. Yeah, it lasts through the month of January, February, and January. Yeah, January
10th to 10th,
people
basically.
go. Yeah,
Somewhere
10
around
Jan
10 Jan to
Feb.
10 Feb, something like that.
Yeah, and it takes place in the exhibition grounds in Hyderabad, and it's very famous.
Nampalli.
Now, yeah. So why do you go to Mesh? Why do you go to exhibition ground? Why do you
I don't.
go there? You don't? Okay.
So
why do
I'll say
people
why people go there. One thing is they go for shopping basically, because the
Okay.
goods that they sell in exhibition, it is relatively cheaper. Second thing, there is a variety, because people from all around the country and also abroad come to set up stalls, and the variety and the diversity is skyrocketing
Yeah.
while exhibition is on. Third thing is entertainment. There are rides that you can on board and have fun. That is one thing, and there is again thrill. So there is this valley of death kind of thing, where people go around in bikes, and it's a well, so they ride across the walls in a horizontal plane.
Yeah,
They
I've seen
ride
that.
the
I've seen
bike.
that.
Right, so they go for the thrill, the adventure, the fun, the diversity, the shopping, the economics, and it's really it's an economic event all in all,
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why people go to Numesh, right? It's mostly the experience at the end of the day.
Yes.
I mean, shopping, you can go anywhere, but the experience you get from there compounds everything. It's bigger than everything. And that's why people go to fairs. So the people who come to a fair are looking to have a great experience. They're looking to have a fun time. So that's what I decided to give them. Yeah, they come there, they get an experience. And the experience is the most important thing, right? All businesses, at the end of the day, they're just selling stuff. You might be selling products, you might be selling services. And in this case, we had to sell an experience. Now, realistically, if you wanted to sell an experience, you'd have a bouncy castle, or you'd have some merry-go-round, or you'd have that stunts and bike thing that you were talking about, right? That's what you'd have. But the problem is, we didn't have that budget. We didn't have stuff like that. So what's the other option? Well, you could sell an experience in the form of a game, right? And give them a fun time. This is a little risky. But if you crack the code, right, you could sell it. And that leads me to my product. What was my product? It was basically football, a penalty shootout. And you might argue, well, I can do a penalty shootout anywhere. Why should I do it here? And that's exactly the thought I had in the first place. But when you think about it, it sort of makes sense, and it also sort of doesn't, which is why product market fit is sometimes a bit difficult to understand. Basically, it's 50p, right? So 50p is like 5 rupees in India. It's very cheap. If you lost a 50p coin here, you would not notice. It's like all money is valuable, right? But certain denominations of money, they don't really matter that much. And 50p is like that. If you lost if you lost 2 rupees, you wouldn't really care. If you lost 10-20 rupees, you wouldn't really mind. If you lost 2,000, that's when you'd start getting concerned. But yeah, it's disposable money. right?
Mhm.
And when you have families, right? Families show up to fairs, yeah, and they have little kids. You are willing to dispose that 50p to a kid
Even with
to see your
with
kid
lesser
happy,
regard,
right?
the
Yeah, with less
regard to that
regard. So it's like,
50p
okay, I'm just
goes
paying
even
50p.
down.
It's not much. Yeah. And it's also like, what is 50p compared to my kid's happiness or joy? So I should just let him. It's not worth much, right? I'm not losing anything, and he's gaining something. Second thing is, there was an aim towards this game from the very beginning. If all I had was a football and I said, you just have to pay money and you can kick it in, no one would do it because I can do this, I can do that anywhere. No, I had a goalkeeper. I had a goalkeeper and it became a challenge, right? But why would you do that challenge? You need something, you need a goal. Sure, you got it in, but what are you getting out of that? So you have to work hard and put that goal in, and then you basically get a chocolate for each goal you put in, right? And I made sure that every customer I had a fun time, had a great experience. And because I managed to do that, I had more customers coming to me. There were a group of boys who did this thing nearly 5 times. Okay? There's like 4 kids who did this 5 times over and over again. And they brought in a good chunk of money. And when I asked them, why are you doing this? There are so many other stalls. They just said, we are having more fun in your stall compared to the others. Right?
Yep.
So how do the economics work, right? How did I rake in that much of a margin? Well, here's the thing. The chocolates, each one of them costs about 3 rupees. Roughly 3 to 3.5. Let's take it as 4 rupees. Okay? Each chocolate is 4 rupees. The maximum you can get with 3 shots is 12 rupees, right? You win 12 rupees worth of chocolates.
Yeah.
How much are you paying for this?
15.
You're paying 50 rupees.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50. So what's the margin? It's nearly 5 times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it worked. I was selling them chocolates in the 4-1 experience. My product was not this stall. My product was basically me selling them chocolates in the 4-1 experience.
You made it funny.
Because they had a fun time, they
Yeah.
came again and again. Yeah. And that's when it made sense to me what product market fit is. And there's one more aspect to this, and that is the marketing and the sales aspect. And the thing is, right, if I had the same stall and I had the same setup and I had the same everything in theory, it all worked, but I was just standing there quietly and I was just standing there, I didn't do anything, then people would not have come to this. People would have been bored out by it. They would not have been interested because you have to have a sort of a positive aura and a certain feeling of optimism so that people will come to you. And that's what I had, right? I was energetic, I was excited, and I tried to bring them in. And eventually, as they came in, they had a fun time. And because I had a lot of people coming in and I had a lot of people playing, other people saw that and they also joined in. So it's like it's like visual marketing.
Yeah.
You know, you're seeing it happen. It's exciting you. Well, it's exciting the kid, and because the kid is excited, the parents willing to pay for it.
Seeing other people having fun wants you to have fun. Makes you want to have fun.
Exactly. And yeah. And I think the same works with restaurants as well, or outside cafes. You see a lot of people drinking coffee.
Yeah.
You're like, I also want a coffee, but I'm not sure how true
It makes
that
you
is.
want to drink coffee.
Yeah.
That is
That's my understanding of product market fit.
That's a decent understanding, but I won't call it accurate because see, I have been an incubatee and an incubation manager, and this PMF is one of our so we call it Horizon 2 in the journey of a startup. PMF is Horizon 2.
Yeah.
So MVP is Horizon 1 and PMF is
Yeah.
called Horizon 2. So in our terms, in its most generic sense, PMF, when a startup or a company in general achieves PMF, is when they find customers who can't live without that product. Right?
Yeah.
Companies, when they find a set of people who can't live without their product, that's when they have achieved PMF.
Yeah.
So their product market fit, that group of people who can't live without that product is the product market fit. So for example, let's say if Google shuts down, Google ceases to exist. How chaotic would that be? People would pay for Google.
Yeah, it would be pretty complicated.
Yeah, just the search engine, people would willingly pay for Google's search engine. If anyone said it, they'll bring it back.
Yeah.
So that's how badly we are in need of Google. And say any other product generally monopolies, when monopolies happen. One of what we can say, public transport is also another weird but good example, right? Because there are a lot of people who don't own vehicles and they pay a monthly pass fee or a daily fee to commute via public transport.
Yeah.
So if the government stops public transport, it will be very chaotic again. People will have to pay more for the means of transport, and they'll demand that means of transport, right? As people would demand Google on a larger scale, people who are using that public transport will demand it to come back to existence or service. So that is when you achieve product market fit. When you find a set of people who would pay for your thing and who can't live without your product or service.
Yeah.
That's our version.
That's one. And I think another one. Yeah, I think another version of product market fit, which actually resonated with me, was by the co-founder of Twitch. I don't remember his name, but
Michael Sabil?
I think he's the Y Combinator.
Yeah, Michael Sabil.
Yeah, Michael Sabil. And I think his version was quite similar to yours. It was you have
that's
product market
that fit. Is the version that is the version of you. That is PMF, not even version.
Yeah, that is the version. That is PMF.
Yeah,
that is product market fit. Yeah.
And it's most basic.
What is people like take your product faster than you can manufacture them or create them.
The market will pull your product instead of you having to push it.
Yeah. That one. And it's quite a hard thing to do. So on paper, it seems very easy. But when you look at it, like in reality, it's very hard to do because you really have to search for what people need. And there are a lot of stuff people need. A lot of businesses.
And the fun thing about it is people don't know what they need.
Yeah.
That is a glitch in our matrix. People don't know what they need. Unless you show them. When you build a product and keep it in front of them, this is what I've made, and when they like it, they'll be like, okay, yes, this is what I needed.
Yeah. I think it's quite similar to the fact like of cars, basically. I mean, like a century ago, if someone showed you a car, your question would be, why would I need this car? There's no reason, there's no demand for the car when it came out at the beginning, because everyone still had chariots and horses to like transport things from another place, right?
Yeah,
They didn't need a car,
there is
but
this
when
argument.
cars came out, there was a demand.
So if you had asked a person in those times, what do you want? A person who wants to travel faster, if you would have asked them what they want, they would say, "I need a faster horse, not a car," right? Because they don't know what a car is. When you create a car and put it in front of them, this has, say, 100 horsepower. They're like, "Oh, damn! I didn't know this was possible." Right?
Yeah.
There's that.
And that's one of the things. I mean, like no one like a century ago assumed. I mean, no one like a couple of decades ago assumed that you could look up stuff so easily without having to like go to the library or go and ask someone.
Yeah.
All you had to do was just type.
Look through all pages.
Do a search bar and
page by
stuff.
page.
Yeah.
We've made it convenient.
Instead of that, you can just type stuff. Yeah, I think a lot of business opportunities, they just they exist in making other people's lives easier or making stuff more efficient. I think that's like the core of entrepreneurship in general. You know, like you're selling stuff, but you are more successful when you sell stuff that actually creates an impact on people and streamlines processes and makes stuff more efficient. I mean, 10-minute delivery in India, I've heard it's dead. I'm not sure it's dead. Is it dead?
What is?
Because I remember seeing someone write that 10-minute delivery. So if I like ordered something, it would be in my hands within 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's there. It's not dead.
Gone. I was reading about Zepto.
So what happened is all these companies started competing with one another for fastest delivery, and people started asking the companies, who asked you? Like, who said you I want this within 10 minutes, within 5 minutes, within 2 minutes? I don't want it yesterday. Just give me in my convenient time and I'm good with it. And all the fuss about the 10 minutes delivery was, in a way, kind of irritating for the people. It's because they got confused. Where do I... where do I order from? He's telling this much, he's telling they are quarreling between themselves. Who am I supposed to tell what I want? It happened. 3-party system. 2 companies are quarreling with one another, saying, I'll do it faster.
Yeah, fighting.
And the customer is like, who do I tell? So that's why might be one of the reasons why it died. Because nahi hona mere ko jaldi, bas de do.
Oh, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, I've seen people who went like this.
Yeah. Who do I order with? Do I go with Zepto? Do I go with Swiggy? Do I go with I don't know.
See, person, they already have let's say Big Basket.
That's interesting.
Already has Big Basket, and then Blinkit comes in, says they're giving in 15, I'll give in 10. Then then public starts shifting to Blinkit. So there's Big Basket again. He says no, I'll give it in within 10 minutes also. So they come back to this, and this shift between platforms. And these are just 2 platforms. There were a lot of platforms who came from 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes, and this entire thing was going on 15 to 10 minutes. Everyone was competing with one another. That really, in a way, annoyed the people. बस करो रे भाई, नहीं होना,
Oh,
लाके दे दो बस.
that's an interesting thing. I think because what I read was that these companies, in order to do fast deliveries, they were burning a lot of money, like a tremendous amount of money, and it wasn't
And they
profitable.
were also
it was actually this, yeah,
they were also kind of harsh, for a lack of a better word. They were harsh on their delivery men, right? Delivery men were in a lot of
that was
pressure
something.
that they have to deliver within 10 minutes, and that was leading them into jumping signals and doing like not following these traffic rules.
Yeah,
That was another problem that government was facing.
rash driving.
Public service in general was facing. Yeah, they were driving rash. They were going fast just to get it delivered, or they would have to compensate. A lot of companies had a lot of stories. This is not like every single thing happened with a different platform. Everyone had their own problems based on how they dealt with the fast delivery system. Now, what I wanted to like, I just coined it out randomly. Tell me about your favorite quote. Okay, when you hear the word quote, that one quote triggers in your mind, why you like it so much, and how it has affected your life. So it's a 3-layer question. What the quote is, why you like it so much, and how it has affected your life.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So my favorite quote is this one by Andrew Grove. And for those of you who don't know, Andrew Grove was the guy who made Intel what it was. Right? He scaled Intel to a very large extent. It became the largest semiconductor firm in the world, and it's a big thing, right? And Andrew Grove's quote, this was featured in the Harvard Business Review, and it's also the title of his book. And the quote is, "Only the paranoid survive." And I love this quote so much that I have it as my full wallpaper.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty obsessed. Yeah, I made the wallpaper.
My wallpaper says this.
Remember why you started. That's a nice one. That's a good quote.
So the paranoid quote. Yeah, carry on.
Remember why you started. But yeah, only the paranoid survive. And I'll give you an example. I'll tell you why only the paranoid survive is so important. Have you heard of I'll explain why this quote had such an impact, and it had a massive impact because of what Andrew Grove said before. Unfortunately, I don't remember precisely what he said, but eventually it was on the lines of this. Do you know the companies Ask Jeeves or Dogpile or Alta Vista or Netscape or Excite or Lycos or Webcrawler? Do you know these companies? Have you heard of them before? MySpace, have you heard of them before? I can't hear you.
A few of them, yeah, I've heard of.
Okay, have you heard of Napster?
No, not that one.
Okay. These are old internet companies. The first few I've mentioned were search engines. These were the biggest search engines in the world before Google arrived. Yahoo. These were the biggest search engines.
Yeah.
MySpace was literally the biggest social network before Facebook arrived.
Yeah.
I mentioned another company, Napster. Napster was Spotify's precursor. It wasn't a company in a way, but it's more illegal technology. But we don't. The point is, we don't remember these companies. These companies are old, and when they're old, they're forgotten. And why did they die off? Because they did not expect the rise of another company that will take their place, that will topple their kingdom and take their place. For example, Blockbuster. Do you know what Blockbuster Video is?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people of our age who are not into the startup world or the business world do you think know what Blockbuster is?
I doubt hardly a few who are cinematic fans.
And for those of you who are watching, Blockbuster was the precursor to Netflix. What they did was they just had home DVD. It was like all you had to do was basically, what did you have to do? You had to like visit the shop, get the DVD, watch it, and then rent it back. It was DVD rental service, and sometimes you had postal service as well. And that was Blockbuster. It was a massive company. No one could beat it in the world of movies or watching shows or getting DVDs. And suddenly a company arrives called Netflix. I know I might be like sort of messing up the story here, but a company arrives called Netflix and it offers to do that same thing, but it's all online. And you don't have to like rent individually. You could pay one fee, get everything you wanted, and watch it how many times you wanted. No one could stop you until you had a subscription. Blockbuster did not care about this. They did not consider the fact that this is a threat to them. They were complacent. They thought that we're doing fine, and because we're doing fine, we will continue to do fine in the future. That complacency ultimately killed them. And that's and the reason for that. But if Blockbuster saw what Netflix was doing, and Netflix was a very small company back then, if they saw what Netflix was doing, and they were paranoid, they were concerned, they thought this is a threatening business model, and they took action on that, maybe made their own streaming service, then Netflix would not have been the giant it is today, and Blockbuster would have continued growing.
Yeah.
In 2008, when the financial crash took place, right? No one thought the housing market would sink because that was unheard of. Real estate always goes up.
Yep.
Right? And it was that complacency among people who were selling that real estate and people who were buying that real estate. It was their complacency which ultimately killed them off. And the entire market crashed and the housing bubble was exposed.
Yep.
It was all because people did not worry about their position. They grew too comfortable in what they were, and they thought to themselves that this is fine, this works, and because we're doing good now, it means we'll do good later on in the future. It's also quite similar to something called the Hand Fallacy. It's basically says, suppose there's a basketball player and he's been throwing hoops all day long and he's getting 3-pointers and 2-pointers. And he's been doing this on a streak, right? Realistically, you'd expect that the next shot he's going to take will also score, will also be a point. But when he doesn't, that's where you have this fallacy in you where you just realize that, oh, maybe he can't do it every single time. Maybe it was just luck or coincidence. And the quote, only the paranoid survive, resonates to what Andrew Grove did as well, because he started Intel at quite a young age after he finished his PhD off, and he was in a highly competitive marketplace. And there were companies before him which had died, and his example is more effective than mine because he listed out nearly 10 different semiconductor companies. And he said, do you know any of them? And the interviewer was like, no, I do not. And he said, the reason you don't know is because they're all dead. It's because they did not see the change in markets. They were too complacent. They're thinking, okay, we're fine. Today, we're manufacturing 100 of these. Next year, we'll manufacture 120. Next year, 150. It's all good. And then suddenly, China or Japan comes in and they throw in their own stuff into the market. And whatever you're selling now is undervalued. doesn't matter anymore because these foreign goods, they've taken over you, right? That's what happened with cameras. So cameras, I believe in America, were very, very expensive. And the camera companies there, they were doing great business. But then I think it was Kodak, a Japanese firm, which came in with their cheap cameras. They dumped them in the American market, and all these big camera players were out. They did not expect that. And if they were, and it's not about like expecting, it's not about knowing what is going to happen. It's about you being proactive and always being alert that there is something which could kill my business. I do not know what it is, so it's a good idea I do research. It is a good idea I prepare. Just because I'm getting the grades I want today does not mean I'll get them tomorrow. To keep this up, I need to put more effort in, I need to do more stuff. And that's why the quote resonates with me. It's something it's like the only thing I think of. So this thing that I have now, it might not work. People we had like the longest bull run, right? From 2010 to the COVID pandemic. It was like the longest bull run. Stock markets, they were always up, apart from small dips, right? They were always up. And people thought that this is a great time, and they kept on investing more money, and they kept investing more money. And now, if you look at what the Bank of England is saying, it's saying that we're going to reach a recession, and that we're going to have a massive recession which will last for about a year. You cannot predict what's going to happen. You don't know the future. You don't know whether you'll have what you have now. So the best thing you can do, the best thing you should do, is always be paranoid, be active into like securing yourself from the forces that try to destroy you. But yeah, so I think my passion for this code is being fueled as I speak. But yeah, that's something that resonates with me.
Being paranoid about what has helped you, like one thing that you were paranoid about external, like the Blockbuster example, right? Netflix, they didn't give much attention to Netflix. And what was your Netflix that made your Blockbuster successful?
I don't think I have an exact story on those grounds, but I think after listening to this code, I have been like paranoid in like every single thing I do. So every time I score good on a test, my feeling is not joy. It's that, okay, something might happen in the future where I will not get the same score. I must keep working hard. And I think I was the most paranoid for the first time I ever did any fundraising, which was I had to run a freshman stall. And it worked pretty good. We spent £22. We got about £95 in return just by selling tea, coffee, and stuff like that. And I was very paranoid because I did not know what would happen. I did not know whether it would work. So I like read a lot of stuff. I tried a lot of stuff. And when it worked once, that did not satisfy me because I was scared that this time, one of my concerns was we did not use high quality coffee this time, right? And I thought because we did not use high quality coffee this time, then the next time people would not be willing to buy from us because they already know that we don't sell well. So the next time I tried, I didn't know what to do. So the next time we tried to get better coffee and to sell that, and luckily it worked out. And it sort of carries on and on and on. I don't really have, I'm like, at this point, I'm just 17, so I don't really have any massive threats. I think the only threat I have is my own complacency, my own overconfidence, where I think that, okay, it's all going well, it'll all continue to go well. If I keep the same thing up, it probably will. No, it might not. In fact, if I work harder, there's also a chance of me successfully failing. But realistically, if you work harder, it won't. So that's basically like my approach to it.
So this when you gave the Blockbuster example, it also reminded me of a conversation that I had with my community manager. So when I was in incubatee,
Yeah,
uh, my community manager Rana. So we were having a conversation, and she told me, "Ke," and I was quite ignorant at the time. I didn't know shit.
yeah,
So he told me, Siraj, the competitor of someone who is selling handkerchief is not always someone else who is selling handkerchief.
yeah,
It could be someone who is selling tissues,
yeah.
right?
That's a
So,
nice example.
yeah, and that example, it is still embedded in my mind, and that helps me. I've never thought about it as being paranoid, but it helps me identify what can threaten me, right?
Yeah,
So I am able to, so it all comes down, like this one comes down to utility, right?
yeah.
Blockbuster, watching shows; tissue paper, cleaning stuff; towel or
Hmm.
kerchief, cleaning stuff. So
Yeah.
utility, if we're looking into, if Blockbuster had looked into utility and considered that these people are doing, they're serving the same thing, right?
Hmm.
The end product is same, that means are different.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had done that, maybe they could have been
Yeah.
alive today.
Today. Yeah. We never know.
The next question that I had is, what is that one quote or concept that seems to make sense to the rest of the world but not you?
Oh, there are a lot. Uh, hmm. Oh. I'm trying to. I know that there is a lot of stuff which I don't understand. People
Mhm.
assume me to be smart. I don't believe I am. I just think I just have a certain level of confidence when I say stuff. So people
Mhm.
assume me to be very well read, but there is a lot of stuff I don't understand. Uh, Specifically, I'm not really sure. I can't think of anything. Things
Anything
like
that comes to your mind first.
uh, things I cannot understand. I do not understand physics. I don't understand the obsession
Mhm.
behind higher theoretical physics. It doesn't make sense to me.
So, which
I don't
format of
understand
physics? Like the very small quantum, classical, or astronomic?
the quantum stuff. I don't
Quantum stuff.
understand. Like not like the
Uh-huh.
quantum stuff. It's more of it's like the theory that they
Uh-huh.
just sit and work on theoretical
Uh-huh.
physics. And
Uh-huh.
I like stuff with low math. I believe math is important. I believe that
Uh-huh.
there is like segments of math which are very useful. But when I see
Mhm.
blackboards of symbols and algebra and equals to
Uh-huh.
signs and scribbles, it scares me. And then I ask them what you're doing, and they say something very complicated, like I'm going to do
Mhm.
this and that, and I don't
Mhm.
understand what's the point. Because my idea is like, okay, look at the world today. What do you need to do? Well, EVs are a massive thing. If you can, I think the next biggest company in India, which is a unicorn, and not like a unicorn which is just full of VC money, but
Mhm.
unicorn with actual proper profitability, is going to come from the first company or the first or second company which builds, manufactures EVs in India for a low
Mhm.
price. It's basically
Mhm.
the whoever can make electric Chetaks wins.
Uh-huh.
They win the
Okay.
entire market because, and they'll have government support because of the climate change thing. They'll have subsidies.
Yeah.
They have a
Yeah.
massive buyer space because young people like us, we're all
Mhm.
woke and we all want to protect
Mhm.
the planet from global warming. And if
Mhm.
it's cheap and it has more efficiencies, then we'll obviously buy it. The first company that does that, mark my words, they'll be the first unicorn with actual proper profitability, like solid revenues.
Cool.
Uh, yeah, that's something I don't understand. Actually, bought a book the other day from the library.
Uh-huh.
It's by Nietzsche. and I didn't read it. And it's basically on the genealogy of morals. And the only reason I'm reading Nietzsche is because a lot of smart people read Nietzsche, and I want to talk to them. So a good way to start off is by, oh, I heard you like Nietzsche. What do you think of the genealogy of morals? What do you think of what is good, what is bad, and what is evil? And hopefully that leads into something more useful. But at the end of the day, this massive essay on morals, I don't understand it. Like, why? Why are we talking about this? Plato wrote a book called Symposium. I believe, hope this goes viral, I'll be like, I'm screwed because I don't know a lot of this. I don't know whether I'm stating truth stuff here, but Symposium is about love. And it's basically basically like speeches about a bunch of philosophers at a dinner party talking about love. That's what Symposium is. I don't understand what's the point. Like, abstract topics which don't have real world utility is something I do not understand. I don't think I will ever understand them. I think another thing that I don't understand, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, is basically, when basically something I don't understand is people our age, they have Instagram and they like stuff on Instagram and they put stories on Instagram. A lot of the stuff they put on their Instagram stories are Twitter tweets. They're tweets, right? They're tweets taken from Twitter and they put them as a picture on Instagram. That's the story.
Reddit memes. Reddit memes, Twitter content.
Yeah, they put there. Yes, but then they don't go to these websites. They just look at the content of another media or another social media, but they don't actually they don't go there. Why aren't you using Twitter if all you like are Twitter memes? It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't understand. What else do I not understand? I don't understand child modeling.
Child modeling? Who's doing that?
A lot of people do teen modeling. I know someone who does teen modeling.
God save me from that.
Yes, they do teen modeling, and I don't understand teen modeling. I mean, like, when you go after 18, right? Modeling, it makes sense, but how does kids modeling work? I saw an advertisement the other day saying that if your kid is like from 3 to 12, then there's a massive market for them because people are looking for child models. I'm confused. I don't understand this.
This legit sounds like a sugar-coated version for pedophiles. They want to see.
Exactly, it does. That's exact. Yeah, I mean, I'm
it's
sure
disturbing. To a degree, it's disturbing.
Yes, it is. It is. It really
Children
is.
in teen modeling.
It really is. Yeah, teen modeling. Yeah, I'm not accusing these companies of doing anything bad. I'm sure they have their own thing, and but it's just the idea and the concept that you're taking kids. Why? Like, what's like the point, right? Advertisements.
That's the only logical thing that we can think of, right? They're shooting kids in those clothes, and the target market, they're the parents, right? Who will see that child in those clothes and go like, my child will also look good like that, and they'll buy it.
Yeah, right. But like, it doesn't really.
Still, it's weird.
Yeah, especially when you have like beauty pageants, teenage beauty pageants. Yeah, and I believe like Miss Teen India or Mr. Teen India.
That is a thing.
That is a thing. I have a friend.
Wow.
Not a friend. I know someone who does that. I believe they were like a runner-up to the pageant.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't understand like how these pageants work. Like how like people are already screaming about body issues and body image, and you have the audacity to take that away from adults. and you put that on teenagers. But
Children.
it is what it is. Something I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand people who do astrology. I
Yeah.
think like if this becomes a regular thing, and you have me on a regular basis, astrology is something I will continuously bring up and talk about, because it's just something I hate so much. But
I'd say flat Earth.
yeah, flat Earth,
I, flat Earth. Flat
flat
Earthers.
Earth. Oh, flat Earthers.
I I absolutely cannot fathom how there is this group of people who still think Earth is flat.
I can't. I mean, like, something that is more scary is when you ask uh, round earthers. I don't know whether it's a name, like people who believe that Earth is a sphere. When you ask them, why do you think it's a sphere? And they are unable to answer, because I was hosting a quiz competition in my school about in last year or so, and it was a science quiz, and there was an astronomy round. So I thought, everyone talks about planets and stars, and I had a fair amount of questions on those. I thought, people don't know why the Earth is round, or like they don't know like the proof as to why. A lot of kids, they just told that it is. They see a couple of pictures, and they're like, okay, it's round, and they don't have a question that. So I thought, okay, let's see how many people know. And I asked the question, and not one answered. It was like no one answered that question, and I had to like tell them, because Earth being round is actually a very old theory, and it's like people believe that the Earth was flat for quite some time. Ptolemy and them lot, but
People still
Copernicus,
do. There are still people who do.
yeah, they do.
It's
They
not a
are still
long gone
people.
thing. There are still people who
Yeah,
do. And the
yeah.
best and the most logical argument for that long ago that I found was through a meme, which just showed our solar system. There was Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and all the planets were there. And in the place of Earth, there was a square sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. All other planets, there were spheres in their proportionate size, and in the place of Earth, there was a sheet, and the caption was, "Why God? Why did you do this to us?
Oh my.
Every planet we see out there is round. Why are we flat? Why did you do that to us?"
I think one thing I think because like I think it would be unfair for telling people why the ancient Greeks especially thought the Earth was round, and the reason for that was math. They used a lot of math, and they could prove that it's round. I do not know that math, but the most logical reason that you can think of is if you go to the seashore or you go to an open field and you see someone like go away in the distance, you notice that they're dipping. And the reason they're dipping is not because they're far away, it's because the Earth is round and there's like a certain curvature, which is why they're dipping. That's why the ancient Greeks, because they had the Mediterranean around them and they had like a bunch of ports. And it was just something you'd see. You'd go to the harbor and you'd see a boat, you see a ship, and you see that ship sinking down, and you're like, wait, why is it sinking? It should be going straight, right? If the Earth is flat, logically, but it doesn't. That's one reason.
Observation.
Yes, observation. That was one. There were a couple of other reasons, and I'm not sure of them. Just pretty bad. Because I think we should. There is like I believe that Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about it. I think like humans, we take too much for like granted. We just listen to it and we like take it. Best example is like waking up at 5 a.m. and doing cold showers. There is no long-term good thing about this. It's just people being gullible and thinking that okay, this is like the secret to success. Well, I do that, but the truth is there's not much around it. Sure, it might make you feel better, right? But it's nothing more than that.
Yep. And like coming, taking a step back to the earth thing that we were talking, and when you mentioned ki the sinking part, right? When
Yeah,
the person is walking away on a plain field or on the sea, when ship seems to be sinking. So,
yeah.
in when I was studying surveying and geometrics in my second year of engineering, they we were taught that when we are surveying any land, flat or otherwise, we don't consider Earth's curvature for a radius of 250 kilometers.
Hmm.
Right? If the survey is happening within the radius of 250 kilometers, we don't consider or we don't care much about Earth's curvature.
Yeah.
And when you think of it, a person, right, or take
Hmm.
Titanic itself or any large ship at a
Yeah.
distance of 250 kilometers from here, from wherever you
Hmm.
are, 250
Yeah.
kilometers, it won't even be visible,
Yeah.
right? So, starting to think that it's sinking or it being like it looks like it's sinking, it kind of makes me wonder like how did they have telescope or something?
I'm pretty sure they did have telescope.
So if that's so, it would make sense because you're looking at a far distance. But in those ancient times, there is with naked eye that making that observation, the sinking observation, is really difficult.
Hmm.
It when
Questioning my knowledge
at
now.
a distance of 250 kilometers, if we are just casually neglecting Earth's curvature, then they would need some strong observation device to make that
Yeah.
happen, to make that observation.
Yeah.
Greeks
It's
were
true.
cool.
Yeah, they were. They were. I think like the takeaway for this is again always be paranoid.
Hmm.
I might be saying
And always remember
stuff.
why you started.
Yeah. Always remember why you started this. Like like the thing is right. We just take stuff for granted. You've been told
Hmm.
that you've been told that the alphabet is A B C D E F G, but in
Huh.
English there is no order to the alphabet. It's like we made it
Yeah.
up. You do not
Yep.
know. Like we say stuff, we don't question it,
Uh-huh.
and I think you have to question everything around you, even if it is established facts. There
Hmm.
is, I think, there is a good reason for you to just know as to why. I might be a hypocrite with this because I
Hmm.
don't. I don't like saying the same when it comes to mathematical proofs.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't
It's
have
just there,
any.
accept it.
Yes, it's like it's just there, accept it. I don't really care about it, but I think there are
So
like certain stuff.
if it
Like
takes
because
more than a certain level of energy to explain it to someone, you're like, just accept it.
mm, again we're walking into the territories of philosophy, and we have less than a minute.
Yep.
But yeah, that is. I think we leave the audience to think about them for themselves. How paranoid should you be when accepting
Yep.
facts? And
True.
earlier, you could believe the institutions, but should you believe the institutions for the facts they publish? I think
Hmm.
that's another very important question.
Let's leave it to the audience
The
imagination.
audience,
And
yes.
before we go off, I'd like to thank you for your time
Thank
for
you.
making
I would
it
like
here.
you
And
to, yeah,
let's do this again sometime soon.
yeah. I also would like to thank you for
Yep.
doing this upon my request because I was
Arre.
bored. So yeah, it was a good
Even I was
time.
bored.
Yeah.